As we speak, President Trump is on his way to our state. It's actually his fourth time here just this year alone, and he'll be holding a rally tonight at Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte to talk for this guy who is congressional candidate Mark Harris.
Tonight we are asking who pays for the president's visits. The answer is overall us, the taxpayer.
Right, the whole bill isn't dumped on taxpayers, fortunately. Either the candidate's campaign or a political action committee reimburses the government for some expenses. Food, lodging, and essentially whatever the president would have paid for on a normal flight.
Where the taxpayer comes in is for the president's safety. The pilots for Air Force One, military and Secret Service protection are a few examples of what taxpayers have to pay for.
Now, this isn't anything new. When former President Obama was in the White House, taxpayers also helped to pay for his campaign travels.